Are listening to Sheriff Robert Luna there talking a little bit about what his department is doing as well. Again, this has been a multi-agency effort here to try and keep people safe amid these disastrous wildfires. What you did hear a little bit earlier there from the newly elected Los Angeles County District Attorney Nathan Hochman is his effort here to keep his word, to keep his promise to the people of Southern California that he will prosecute people that are taking advantage of this situation. He noted that there are now 10 people facing charges, 9 of them in connection to looting and 1 in connection to arson. Now, this connection to arson, I think it's important to highlight here. This is an incident that he says happened in Azusa, California. So it isn't connected right now to some of these big fires that we saw immediately. We know that initially they were investigating the Kenneth fire that sparked off near the Calabasas area. They were investigating that as arson as well. And he noted here that that person who is facing these arson charges is looking at potentially 9 years in prison. But looting is certainly top of mind for so many people in this area. I want to bring in ABC's Matt Rivers. He's out here in Altadena, not that far from me. And Matt, if you were able to hear authorities just talk about what they're dealing with here in Altadena, they noted here that there are several people that are facing charges in connection to looting incidents that happened out here in Altadena. And he noted one in particular that some people went into 2 different homes. And Matt, at one point, he says they stole an Emmy Award from someone. I mean, this is just so offensive to people here who are just literally picking up the mess of their lives.
Yeah, and it's a reminder that we are in Los Angeles when it is an Emmy Award that gets stolen.
Yeah.
But, you know, each one of these houses, still, even though there's all this destruction, Kana, behind me, house after house, almost there's nothing left. It has not stopped people from trying to come in and pick through the rubble here to see what they can find and take advantage of the situation. I will say, having been out here now for the better part of a week, here every single day, as I know you've been, the law enforcement presence is immense. In fact, just as we were coming on here, 2 people from the FBI just drove by. Right before that, it was the sheriffs. We had to pass by National Guard troops. So when you're hearing officials say there is 0 tolerance for this kind of thing, it seems like they're backing up the words with actions, both with those prosecutions and also with the amount of resources that have been deployed in and around this area. We've been here in the middle of the night. We've been here in the middle of the day, every hour in between, and we always, always, always see a consistent law enforcement presence. So that is something that I think people who are maybe homeowners in here that might be worried. Don't forget, it's not just homes that have been destroyed, too. It's the homes that are not destroyed that are under evacuation orders. Obviously, they're a huge risk because they're not destroyed. There are police officers out here, law enforcement personnel doing what they can, but it's such a huge area, Kana, as you mentioned earlier, that it's, you know, they can't be everywhere at once.
Right, and it is really widespread. I mean, we talked about the looting that they say they saw here on the Eaton fire out in Altadena, but they also talked about the looting incidents that they saw on the outskirts of the Palisades fire. And you're right to mention there, Matt, the concerns of the homes that are still standing. It sounds like that's an issue they ran into in that Mandeville Canyon area where somebody stole some $200,000 worth of goods is what they're alleging. And they're saying that, Matt, one of these people, it was their 3rd offense. This person is facing life in prison at this time. They're clearly taking this very seriously, and that's what we're hearing here from our local officials. But, Matt, I know you're also seeing the National Guard out there, a huge presence here in Altadena and in the Palisades area as well, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question that they are really, really taking this quite seriously. And we were talking to some firefighters yesterday who were also talking about that with me as well. They were basically saying it makes their jobs easier to do what they do, that they don't have to worry about looking over their shoulder when we know that there are bad actors out there. There's no question. We heard over the weekend from Sheriff Luna that one of the people who was caught in one of these areas was on active parole and had a concealed handgun. So these are not great people that are being arrested here, at least what it seems like. These are people who are seeking to take advantage, adding insult to the worst of injuries to people who have gone through, you know, and as we're talking, Kane, I'm literally watching another officer drive by right there on the street. So again, the presence is out here, but even with that, and even with the continuous messaging that we've heard from officials, 0 tolerance, we're not putting up with scams, we're not putting up with looting, we still see people coming out trying to take advantage, so the vigilance should remain.